Pranakasha live stream.
Hi folks, it's Matt from Pranakasha Productions, and today we have Vance Major, otherwise known as the man of 1,000 fan films. And Vance and I have become buddies because we met at a Star Trek Las Vegas this summer, and then he also interviewed me on his show, so now it's time for me to have him here on Pranakasha live stream. So, Mr. Vance, I discovered that you have an IMDb page. What's that all about?
I don't know. Someone else started it for me and added stuff on there, and it's one of those things where like it's surprised when you Google yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't even know this was on there. So I added a couple things to it when I saw that I had one. Because I was like, okay, why not? Then other people added stuff to it, and but I found out one day that I had I was on something called the Star Trek Extended Universe or something like that. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I found out not only was Erick Minard on there, but so was all these different versions of Erick Minard. I'm like, what? Like
Erick Minard being
my character from the Star Trek fan films that I play,
right.
And this guy meticulously tracked all these different things. Some things were right, some things were not, and but I was like, wow, this is you could tell this person painstakingly had done their research, and I was like, wow, it's weird when you look up stuff and you're like, this is kind of scary because who the heck am I? So it's weird, so it's flattering, but weird,
You're Vance. Well, everybody in the Star Trek fan universe seems to know who Vance is. So
infamous, stay away from that guy, so yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not so far. All I've heard is positive stuff about you. That's wild.
Thank you.
So I said you were the man of 1,000 fan films, so that obviously was a bit of an exaggeration. But now you're past 108 now, right?
Yeah, we have 111
Okay.
that we've produced, that I've gotten behind, supported, produced, and then I've cameoed. I think, let's see, let's see, 8 is 4 8. I want to say about another 12.
Okay.
12 or 13 that I've cameoed in. So that it's you're up to about like 130 some, or 100 125 130 some that that you've been involved in, and then that includes a couple of audio dramas as well.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it keeps you busy.
Right.
So.
And how many years have you been doing it now?
Just now past 8 years. So this past December, I think it was December 10th or December 4th was 8 years that I first went to the studio for the first time and walked on the TOS sets and the full 360 bridge, and got immersed in that world and was just like, wow, this is crazy, because when you walk on the bridge for the first time,
Right.
I don't care if you're a TOS extraordinaire, or if you don't like Star Trek at all, when you walk on that bridge for the first time, you get lost in that world. And that was the thing for me. Like, I did not like classic Star Trek at all. I was more of a Next Generation fan. I grew up on Next Generation. I liked the movies. Like, I loved Star Trek 4, I loved Star Trek 2. But when you watch the old TOS set, the old TOS shows, you're kind of like, that's kind of corny. I don't want to watch Mom and Dad Star Trek. You think in your mind, you have it ingrained, the hippie episodes, you're like, I don't want to watch that
space
stuff.
hippies. Yep.
Exactly. But when you walk on that bridge and you see the buttons, glowing, the real, they're the size of,
everything.
It's, you don't have to leave it to the imagination because it's right there.
Right. Now, which bridge was this? Because there's several of them now.
It was the old Starbase Studio sets. They're no longer around now.
Where's that?
It was in Oklahoma City at the time. Now
Okay.
it's sort of in Arkansas, but they've kind of just dissipated. They're no longer around. So
Okay. And was it like a museum or an attraction, like you buy a ticket to go see it, or how did that work?
no, you could go and film. And we Starship Valiant shot there. Starship Ajax shot there. Uh, um, Starship Grissom shot there, which was a student. It was kind of a student thing where they made episodes for the classroom, like an education, Star
Okay.
Trek education type thing, which can
Okay.
be found online as well. But no, they were. It's kind of like it is now with Warp 66 Studios or Neutral Zone Studios,
Huh.
which Warp 66 is in Arkansas, Neutral Zone is in Georgia.
Huh.
Anybody can come shoot there and do their film. And it was very, very
Huh.
welcoming, open to anybody who wanted to come.
Okay. So how do you book it? You just contact them and arrange a date, or
Yeah,
like you have
that's
to
basically
rent it,
how.
or is it
No, that's basically how it was at the time. You called up Scott Johnson,
okay?
and or Richard Wells at the time. Kind of arrange. Hey, this is kind of what I want to do. This is what I need, and you came, you shot your stuff, and a lot of the times it was 12 to 16-hour shoot days.
Right.
And Scott Johnson usually handled the lights. Richard Wells usually would just come unlock the door and let you do your thing. And it was a lot of fun. Michael King was always there. Like, they had a core
Okay.
group of people that would always come and help each other out, even if they weren't in the film or didn't have anything to do with the film. But they would always kind of come and help each other out. And it had a real sense of family there.
Right.
But that's where I met a lot of the people who kind of gave me my start in fan films and kind of showed me the ropes of, hey, this is
Okay.
what you do on a film.
Okay. So like when you said the guy worked the lights, you mean like there must have been somebody who was a tech that knew how to turn on all the fancy blinking
Oh
lights
yeah.
on, and then you also need somebody who's actually your lighting technician. I'm assuming it's kind of like a sound stage where like on the ceiling there's a lot of, you know, theatrical type of lights, or how did that work?
It he well, we had it wasn't. You would think that it would be like really fancy and really high tech, and but it really wasn't. Like, it was kind of a storage garage type area.
Uh-huh.
And we'd always have to reset up, like, we only had like a handful of lights and a handful of materials, so we would always have to reset up everything and reset up all the shots and
Uh-huh.
everything. And Scott, honestly, he's probably the best light guy that I know, because he knew exactly how the old TOS shots were done.
Uh-huh.
And if you wanted it lit a certain way, he knew
Right.
what gel you needed to use. He knew what lighting process you needed to do.
Cool.
And that's one of the ways. If he'd sit there, when we would be done with the shoot, we'd go to like the Waffle House afterwards, and just to sit there and listen to him talk about the old ways they used to do stuff.
Right.
It was really great to just kind of sit there and be a sponge and kind of soak up that information. And again, I was never a TOS fan.
Okay.
Some people used to sit there and why don't you like TOS? But I'm like, it's just not what I grew up with. But I have all this kind of useless knowledge that I kind of put to use, because people like Scott, he was real good at kind of, here you go, Padawan.
It's funny his name is Scott too. Scotty, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he was, people like him were really good at, showing everybody, hey, this is what you do. This is, if someone who came in who thought
Right.
they knew how to make a fan film, Scott would be, hey, here you go.
This is how
People
you
like
do it.
Glenn Wolf also did the same thing. If you needed props or something, hey, well, we can get this for you. We can build this for you. Here you go.
Nice.
Glenn Wolf currently does the Warp 66 in Arkansas, and they're just as welcome as they were at the old Starbase Studios. And
So is that like a takeoff on Route 66?
I don't know where the name comes from. I have no idea.
Because it just so happens that I've got right here, US
There you go.
66, Arizona. I don't know
There
how
we
far.
go, man.
Well, actually, Route 66 kind of goes east-west, doesn't it? So it probably wouldn't make it up into Arkansas, but so was this now? What I heard is that the original bridge, the original TOS bridge, when Matt Jeffries designed it, it was modular where you could take out sections of it so that you could move a camera in and stuff like that, and then put it back in again. Like, could this bridge set do that?
No, this one couldn't. This one pretty much was. It was. There was an old fan film called Starship Exeter, and the only thing that was left over, because it was basically rotted out, tore up, rotted out, and they had to rebuild most of that one. But they were able to salvage from the Uhura station all the way over to the Scotty station, and everything else they had to basically build up. But they had like 3/4 of that. So they built basically from the front part of the, kind of in front of like the main viewer screen all the way over like the front part of the bridge. So basically made a full 360 bridge. So you weren't able to move any of the stations and make it, kind of modular, where you were like, okay, let's pull this out, and now we can put the camera in here and film Spock from like a weird, funky angle. So you couldn't do stuff like that. So, but it was, really, honestly, the bridge is so open. You had basically kind of whatever camera angle you wanted to, and especially now with the way cameras are,
smaller,
where you can make your camera weird like that, and then make kind of weird angles where we don't have the problems that they had back in the day on those sets where the cameras are so
giant
big
thing.
So we didn't have to move anything where they kind of maybe had to back in the day.
We got cameras that look like this.
No, every one of my films are shot on a cell phone.
I shot a lot of videos on my cell phone too.
And that's exactly when I first started. That was one of the ridicule that I got. We were shooting a Starship Ajax / Starship Valiant crossover at the time, and I wanted to shoot a little small thing for my YouTube. And the guy who was doing the Ajax film came. I was like, "Hey, can I shoot the thing real quick? Since we're kind of cutting for the day." He was like, "What are you going to shoot it on?" I said, "Oh, my cell phone." And he was like, "Oh, you can't shoot it on that. You got to have something like this." And he showed me this fancy camera.
The thing is, I mean, you can do a cell phone. It looks fine now, as long as you don't do a real close up, because then you start getting that fisheye effect because the lens is so small, But sometimes I do, unless you want a fisheye effect, then you can really take advantage of it. But that's like the biggest thing about a cell phone, that the biggest disadvantage it has is that the lens is really small compared to a quote normal camera.
The thing is, like he had like a 100 buttons on his camera, and he was showing me all the doohickeys and whatnot, and I smiled. I entertained him for the few moments, and then as soon as we walked off, I was like, all right, screw that, I'm going to do my thing anyway. And and here I am 111 films later, and every one of those I've shot on my cell phone. And granted, they're not the most glossed over, I understand that, like, my films are what they are. But I think the stories that I've told stand on their own. And that guy, he, bless his heart, he still hasn't gotten his film out yet. So I mean, I think at some point you have to just break down and say, look, what works for me? What is, am I more worried about taking behind the scenes pictures and having the best camera, or am I more concerned with, hey, let's just get a good story out, let's just tell a story, let's just get this out. I'm more concerned with, hey, let's go have some fun with my friends, let's go get a little Caesar's pizza and enjoy the day and get a film out, because at the end of the day, like, that's all I care about. I got no budget, I'm not going to pretend like I'm Hollywood, whereas
that's
someone
your name.
like him,
that's your name, No Budget Productions.
Exactly. So
well, to tell you the truth, I know people get in love with camera technology now, and like they want to do it in 4K and all this stuff, but I'm really old school. Like, when I see something in 4K, I really don't like it because it's too sharp, and it makes it look fake. And then like, do I really want to see every single pimple on every actor's face? No.
Right. Well,
So in fact, to tell you the
it,
truth, a lot of times, even in my films, I will intentionally blur it a little bit just to, I'll fuzz it out to give it a better, a more natural look. So
right. Well, it's just like with it's just like with the CGI. Like the human eye can pick up like when things look kind of fake or when things look
right.
off. You know, so it's like you have to allow you have to allow the flaws naturally. You have to allow certain things to just, you know, let it pass, you know, because the human eye is very quick on picking that stuff up. You know, if it doesn't
Yeah.
look right, it doesn't look right, you know. So
Yeah, your
um
brain really picks it fast, your visual
yeah,
cortex or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the only thing, to tell you the truth, the thing that made me give up my cell phone, and sometimes I still use it, like when I'm going on location and like going outside of my studio, I almost always use my cell phone
Mhm.
because I don't want to tear down my good camera and everything. But like the thing that made me stop using my phone was that my phone has this weird thing with the autofocus where if it catches a reflection off my glasses, the auto brightness and the autofocus will freak out, and it'll go "Wah," like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got so sick of having to go into Premiere Pro frame by frame and adjust that so I don't get that. That I was like,
Mhm.
I'm done with this. I'm just gonna get a real camera. And then once I did, I never had that problem ever again. But I suppose if I was smart enough, I could have figured out what setting on my phone I needed to change to get it to stop doing that. But I could never do it.
See, and that's the thing. Like on my camera, like I've tried to change the autofocus where it doesn't do the auto zoom, and like because it's like I get that. Like I have the same problem on mine, and like I think technology has outsmarted me. I think I'm like two steps above. You know, I'm two steps under Cylon, just kicking my butt on this stuff. You know, because it's like I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm just like, I know it's going to do it in my film. I don't care. I don't care if I'm on a green screen, it's going to do it. Like if the lighting's, it's going to do it. And especially here in my you know the lighting here in my sets in my
Mhm.
den, like the lighting is not perfect. So if I'm doing something and then I move real quick, the lighting's going
Yeah, it does
to,
that thing.
and so it's just like at this point, I'm like, my fans know, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, at the end of
Well,
the day,
when the auto brightness does the thing where it goes rah, rah, like that, that's not that hard to fix. But the thing that really pissed me off is that it would actually do that little zoom. So it would go like that, and it would just change it by like 1 pixel.
right.
But even that tiny change, if it's abrupt like that, your eyes and your brain pick it up. They notice something just blipped right there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, the things we have to deal with.
The first world problems, you know, this is
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Well, I don't know. I think, yeah, you probably saw that I just interviewed Josh Michael Irwin, and he
I saw.
mentioned that you've done a lot of stuff with him too. In fact, your character was in one of his latest films, right?
Yeah, we've I was on the panel with him at Vegas, which we all kind of, you know, ironic that we all were there together.
Right.
We I was in Agent of New Worlds. I did a cameo at the very end there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
we did New Orders, which was one of the recent ones. I've done I think three other ones of the Avalon universe. Um, and then I'm in the upcoming one called The Truth Within that's coming up. It's going to be one of the first ones of the new year. Um, so yeah, I mean, and I have I'm in a couple of that we've discussed for
Okay.
the Avalon universe. For my character, there's a direction that we both have agreed to go. You know, and again, hopefully in a perfect world, because you know things never always plan out as you want, especially in the day and age of COVID.
And
Um,
Omicron.
yeah, yeah, no, it's every day. It's you know
Right.
something new. You know, it's so you know we do have a direction we want to go and then we want to do you know safely. Um, and you know we think it's realistic and you know what we want to do. But yeah, we've worked on you know he's been in plenty of my films. I think probably a half dozen of mine. I've been in you know probably
As an actor or as a like a photography director or whatever?
Actor.
Oh,
And we will probably maybe early next year or late this year. We will be working on a film called Starship Republic. So and he'll be the director on that one. I'll be producing that one. He'll be the director.
okay.
But it's kind of one of those ones where I'm like, hey, here you go. Here's this project. Go. Because he knows how, and it'll be one of those ones where it's not going to be, a fancy schmancy project. It's just going to be one of those ones where, it's two friends that,
Okay.
we know how each other works behind the scenes. He knows how laid back I am.
Mhm.
And I know what he brings to the camera.
Yeah.
And what
A
he
lot of his
brings.
stuff is really good. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the cinematography, just beautiful,
Yeah.
just beautiful camera work, everything.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah.
and the thing about it is like Josh, not only is he a good cinematographer, he's a great director as well. He knows how to get a good performance out of somebody.
Uh-huh.
So I want to give him that director spotlight, because I know he's a great cinematographer. He's
Mhm.
shown that with the visuals he's done. But I want to give him the director role and just say, hey, this isn't, the high budget film that Avalon is. That this is going to be a lower budget, film, kind of like what I have. But let's mix our two worlds and
Yeah, you only
let's
get
go have
one
some fun.
slice of pizza. Yeah, if you want two slices, you got to contribute $5 to the kitty. But we'll
There you
give you
go.
one.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, no,
So-
we've worked on a lot of projects together. And it's we talk probably once, maybe twice a week,
oh wow,
at
okay.
least. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon for us, and when we do, it's if even if we go like weeks without talking, as soon as we talk, it's like we pick up right where we left off because he's one of those friends that he's got just one of those personalities where we just pick right back up.
Yeah.
And you find that when you work with people, it was the same thing when I talked to my friend Yava, who plays she plays both Emily and then Captain Mickle in my films. I haven't spoken with her in probably a year,
Okay.
but I called her because I had a thing I wanted to run past her that I wanted to do for one of the Constar films
Okay.
in this upcoming year. And it was the same thing with her. You called her up, or I called her up and picked right up where we left off. Same thing with Greg Teft, who plays Russo. Every time we call, it's kind of like when you go to a family reunion. When you work with these people, you get that sense of family. Um,
Yeah.
so it's not like hi, I know it's been a long time, but how, it's more like, hey, how we doing, kiddo? So let me run this past you real quick,
Yeah.
because you have that sense of family, and that's all these people, even the people who you haven't physically met but you've worked with plenty of times. When you call them, it's family,
Right.
and that's why it's so hard to leave the fan film world, because it's like, man, I just love these people,
Right. Lee, now I remember at some point you were saying you're almost done doing fan films, but is that
Yeah,
true? So then what are you
yeah.
gonna do with your life?
Enjoy it. I'm kind of doing that now.
Okay.
Because at a certain point, there's only so many stories you can tell.
Okay.
For me, it's I kind of feel like I've told as many Minard stories as I can. After 100 and some, it's like, man, I'm kind of I'm kind of done. But I mean,
Well,
if Josh,
in the old days, 100 films would be like maybe 3 seasons. But nowadays,
yeah,
100 films is 10 seasons.
yeah,
So
yeah.
10 seasons is a pretty good run.
Well, and that's like it's ironic because last night there was over the past couple of weeks there's been a lady who's just been watching random videos of mine.
Okay.
And early last night I put the link on one of the comments and I said, hey, you might enjoy this from the very beginning and just watch it, because she watched like two of the fan films. And it was funny because like all night she was just commenting on every video from the very beginning because she was starting to watch them in order. And I loved it because through the night I was just watching comment after comment after comment, and I would respond because I like to respond as comments come in.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But I love it because it's like that's how my shows should be watched, is like in order, binge watched, just enjoy them, because it's not only this dude's life, but it's the lives that he's touched, the crews and the events of Star Trek through these people's lives, kind of like Lower Decks. You see
Right.
you see things through their eyes,
Right.
But at a certain point, it's time to kind of, okay, I'm done with my stories. If someone else has a story with Minard, okay, sure, let's go tell that, Josh, or let's go tell that, Frank, or let's go tell that, Gary, but as for Vance, I'm done with me. Now if
Okay.
someone else has a story that involves my character, I'll never tell them no. But as for me, it's like, I want to go be a dad. I want to go,
That's a worthy pursuit.
yeah. And the thing is, like, I kind of have that now, because it's like I'm not in any rush to go tell my films. And then there are other films that I want to go do. I want to do my Batman film with my son, where he's Robin, I'm Batman, even though Batman has a beard and is kind of overweight, but I want to go do those other films that are just kind of fun. I'm going to go do
Right.
the Ghostbuster film, again with my son.
Right.
But he's done he's done some acting. Well, he considers it playtime, which it is.
Yeah, it's
but,
just play for adults.
Exactly. But I kind of want to go do other things. After.
All right.
Exactly. But after
Captain
8 years,
Kirk, Enterprise, come in.
right.
Anyway,
But after 8 years of Minard, I don't think I'll be, I don't think there will be 10 years of me still doing this. I think if I'm still here 10 years, something will have been wrong.
well,
So
I thought for sure you were going to do movies after that, right?
what do you mean? Wait,
well,
what?
now that you've done the Minard series, then you start doing feature-length movies. You should do like 5 or 10 of those.
You hush. No, don't
You
you
could
start.
redo the whales. We could do one instead of whales. It could be about otters or something. Otters up in Alaska.
Blatantly ripping off Star Trek. I think I'm good. It's okay.
Or do
I'll
a
go
Jonathan
get,
Livingston Seagull episode. That'd be cool.
That's a go grab Royce's toys and start just doing very cheaply, I'm good. It's okay. I don't think so. It's all good. I'll leave
You could
that
get
up.
your son could swim in the aquarium. He'd love that. It's like Spock.
It's okay. He might like that a little too much. I don't think I'll delve into that one.
Oh wow. So that's wild. So, but does that, once you become sort of the, I don't know, the grand poobah of fan films, you're just gonna sit back and smoke your cigars and be a dad and
That's it, man. Like
do conventions, if they pay, but you only do them if they pay at least $5,000 a weekend type of deal.
I want the Shatner money. Give me the William Shatner money. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where, I do my pizza roll diaries, where I
right.
just talk to my friends, just kind of BS with them. And
kind of like this.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, and to me, that's kind of relaxing. It's kind of, I feel like that's, again, after, years of fan films, it's, I've met how many cool and interesting people,
Right.
And I'd like to share that experience. And again, like,
Mhm.
I don't care if anyone watches. I just like talking and catching up.
Yeah.
And then I do a show with Frank, my partner, on that, it's called Critical Not Cynical, where we sit and we watch fan films, where we kind of just talk about, hey, this is what we like, this is what we didn't like. Let's invite the producer on and see if see what the critiques are, and
I haven't watched that
see,
yet. We'll have to put a link.
no.
So we'll put a link for that in the description too. So
Okay.
I'll put a link for No Budget, your YouTube channel, No Budget Productions, and then send me all that stuff, and I'll put it all right down here, and we can all check it out. It'd be cool.
But yeah, we usually, and I schedule the, I always ask the producer if they want to come on when we do their show, because for me, I've had my films reviewed by people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it frustrates me because
Right.
to me, it's like I'm always willing to come on and talk, or at least be in the chat and respond to the
Right.
criticisms when it's like it's on the tip of my tongue. Like, guys, I can answer this, but
Right.
they'll bash and bash and bash, and I'm like,
No, no, you missed it. Don't
yeah.
you understand? Didn't you see that one shot? Like that, the whole thing tells you the whole story's right there. And like
Well,
the lighting of the doors, it swooshes, it tells the whole thing, and you missed it.
well, well, in one of the films, in one of the films, the lights, the whole story, it's the film called Resistance, and common sense would tell you, well, the story tells you what the whole thing is, but everybody in the chat was laughing at these. They were like, these guys don't know what they're doing, their lights don't even work, these guys are amateurs, this is dumb. And I sat there and I was like, first off, I wrote the story around the real world problems we had on set. Second of all, if we are in a starbase and we're escaping because we are on a museum ship that doesn't have power, and we're trying to escape the Borg, and at the end of the film, the Borg fly by us because they don't even consider us a threat. I mean, all these things would tell you, like, we don't have, that would kind of make sense. We don't have power, but let me tell you the real world. We were running on a gas generator and we only had power for one station. If we ran two, we ran the risk of blowing up the generator thing and our computers. So we couldn't do, so not only was there an in-story, in-universe, there was a real world issue. So there were two reasons, but all these people did in chat was, man, these guys are stupid. These guys don't know it. And I'm like, you guys are more worried about blasting people than actually paying attention. So that's why
Right.
when I did the show Critical Not Cynical, I was like, let's bring the producers on, because maybe I
Yep.
missed something.
Yep.
And then we can give the producers a reason to say, no, you missed this and this. Oh,
That sounds
okay, well then
fun.
I'm wrong.
Like,
Yeah.
remember when I was on your Pizza World Diaries? And that friend of yours was like it was blowing up the chat, and he was just totally firing thunderbolts at me, but I didn't see most of them. I wish
Yeah.
I could have engaged with him. It would have been really fun to just go back and forth with him and like kind of get where he was at. But so
Right.
do you get to do that on your show, on this other show?
Yeah, no, that's like because the producer, like, not only is it like me and my partner Frank, it's like this right here, like you and me, and then the
Right.
producer is like another window. Like we invite them on and we all watch the movie together, because I always feel like the audience should know what we're talking about. It's never just like
Right.
we're talking about this. Like, we all watch it together. It's like a watch party,
Okay.
and then Frank and I talk about the film, and then we invite, and then we say, okay, now that Frank and I've talked about it, like, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't like. Frank says the same thing, like, this is, we talk about it, and we
Right.
say, okay, now producer,
Bring him in. Like, why
what
did
are
you
your
do that, you
thoughts?
idiot?
What's that now?
Yeah. So then you grill the producer.
Yeah, and
That'd be
we,
fun.
and we talk, and the whole thing about it is like, never has it ever gotten hostile, because it's like usually we're all friends anyway,
Right.
but we all come at it from the point of view of, we're all filmmakers,
Right.
but we're not very good ones. So like,
I'm an
we all
artiste.
that's one word.
I have a scarf here somewhere. Yeah. No. Darn. So yeah. Okay. So what do I got to do to sign up to be on that show?
Oh no,
All right.
well, we're going to be doing we're going to be doing them in February again,
Okay.
because we're taking a break from the whole kind of YouTube thing,
Okay.
because Frank's building his sets,
Okay.
and
Ooh.
we were just doing so many shows where, it was kind of early December where I was like, Frank, you're getting burnt out because you're doing too many shows. I'm burnt out because I've done in a year, well, less than a year, I did 74 Pizza Roll Diaries.
Holy wow. Of course,
Yeah.
the thing I like about doing interviews like this. I mean, I can do an hour interview or 2 hour interview, edit it, and get it published tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Whereas it takes me like 8 months to do a half-hour Star Trek fan series, you
Yeah.
know, and it probably gets a similar amount of views. So I'm like, which one makes more sense from that point of view?
Well, see,
But
for me, I'm real lazy because I mean, you edit your. I don't. I'm just more like, all right, let's go live. Click. All right, hey
well,
guys, and then like when I'm done, I'm like done. Like I don't. I don't. I'm not that smart. So you are leaps and bounds better than me. Like I'm very low brow, low budget. Like I don't know anything. Again, like I really feel like the phone could turn into the Cylon and be like, all right, let's go take this fat guy out. Like I don't know nothing, you know. So if I had to do editing, I'd be like, all right, here's the last Pizza Roll Diaries, guys, because we're canceled, you know.
so
I
like
couldn't do it.
when you do your fan films, do you have someone else as your editor then, or
I
who
have
edits those?
yeah, well, I have several. I have several different editors. I have several CGI artists. I have
Okay.
I like the thing is when I first started, and I think this is probably one of the reasons why I have the success that I do, um, is because I would reach out to people who you know, it's kind of the misfit toys, you know, mentality. Nobody wanted to work with this guy. Nobody wanted to work with this guy. Nobody wanted to work with, and I'd be like, screw it, come over here, I'll work with you. Like let's put our heads together. And then like maybe this guy could do music. This guy could do, you know, maybe not great CGI, but something. Well, great. Now I don't gotta, you know, go grab my micro machines and you know, so it's something. And then you know we would you know, okay, so now we've got something, and you know this guy
Right.
can edit, maybe not great editing, but okay, what can you do? Okay, you can't do green screen stuff, but you can do everything. Okay, cool, so we could do away mission stuff. Great, cool. Now we know what we can do. Here's all limitations. Let's go. So I'd write a script. Let's go. And I wrote within those limitations, and then slowly we would expand out. People would see, oh, hey, I like that. You do? Awesome. Yeah, if you ever need help, well, you sure? Oh, cool. Now we can expand and then slowly just keep expanding. So now we have a huge network of people who help and understand like, hey, none of us get paid. We just do it for fun. You know, if you don't have time, you know, real world comes first, you know? So
Speaking of away missions, if you ever
that's,
need to land a TNG shuttle, see that?
that's it, man. That's it.
I can just put a
No,
green,
and that's,
I can put myself in a green suit or splash green paint all over me and just go like that.
that's it. No,
Ta-da!
like, it's funny that you bring up the shuttlecraft because if you look in if you go to the film Break Free, there's a
Okay.
lady who has a distress call, and if you look in the back behind her on her green screen, I've actually used the interior of that shuttle as her background. And I do stuff like that all the time where I'm like,
Right.
I wonder if anybody's going to see this. And most people don't even notice. It's because they're so engaged in the actors and their performance. But I do stuff like that all the time. And in the film I Warp Prime,
Right.
um, my office background is the old Mago Bridge background. It's like neon and orange and neon green and whatnot, but it's
Uh-huh.
like it's that background of the bridge that looked all kind of 70s funky look, you know. But I was like,
Right.
I can't think of a station background that I want for me. I'm gonna go take that. So I
Right.
did, and that's if you know what
So
you're
you
looking
just
at,
found
you're
it
like,
off like off a YouTube clip or something like that, or
no, I just found a picture, like a stock photo
oh
on Google that was some dude was selling it, and I was like, I'm gonna take that picture. Oh,
yeah,
you know, you know.
I do that all the
So
time. I mean, my
yeah,
entire show is done like that. There's no sets
I
at all.
I've
So I
seen.
completely know what
Trust
you're
me,
talking
dude.
about.
Trust me. I've seen your stuff. I know. Like I am like, what is all of this? Like what? What is this? No,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to do that stuff. Um,
Yeah,
it's
no, we
funny.
did.
Like what was your very first video? Like the thing that kicked you off, got you
The
going.
the first thing I did was well, going back to the story that I told of it was a thing called pen pals.
Okay.
And it was that thing on the bridge that I told you that I just wanted to record it with my cell phone, and I put it in front of me, like in front of Scotty's station, you know, like I'm recording. And I asked Michael, the guy who played my captain, would you mind just going and sitting in front of, in the captain's chair? And we had all the people who were there that day. And I said, hey, could you give me 5 more minutes before you guys leave? Oh, sure, no problem. So everybody sat in their stations, and I just recorded it like I was making a pen pal message to someone who was going to be on another production, which I knew that I was going to be producing in I think it was going to be like maybe 4 or 5 months ahead of time. Because again, I'm always thinking ahead. What can I do that plans and jump starts, And I thought, when we get to that film, I'll have her send, a message back for Pen Pals Part 2. And it'd be the same type of thing. And I thought that would be great cross promotion, considering this film, this film series is established. This would be a great way to give, publicity to that film. So it was something very simple to do. You just set the camera in front of you, and then you're doing, your button control, and then you're sending a message as a pen pal. You're being sneaky. Because how many times at work do we send a text message we're not supposed to send, or we watch a video on break that, hey, I got 5 more minutes, oh shoot, break's almost over. Let me watch it, So this would be the 23rd century equivalent. He's on the bridge, he's working, but he's going to send a message to his pen pal, to another engineer to another ship, where he's wishing her, man, I've seen the specs of that new ship. It looks cool. Like, how do you get those warp coils? Like, man, it's badass, like, and then, she sends it back, and then she gets caught, and it's just, it's, because at the end of the Pen Pals Part 1, I told Michael, I said, when I say this line, I want you to look over and go, Minard, what are you doing? And then Minard's gonna be like, oh, gotta go, bye, click, and I said, because therefore it's very simple. And then all I gotta do is have my editor put a thing at the beginning, which is the little beep, 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 computer
Right, some
thing,
kind of sound effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was something so simple where I didn't have to do any editing for camera angles or nothing. It was just very much the camera beep, 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 then my thing for like 40 seconds, and then beep, 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 beep. And that, so simple and effective. So that was my first fan
That's
film.
cool.
Yeah.
And then
worked.
had
And
you already come up with Minard, the name Captain Minard? Did he already exist at that moment?
No, he was, well, yes. Because it was Michael King had created the character of Erick Minard and hired me on to do that character. And I was the engineer of his series. And I had asked him if I could do my own fan films.
So he's engineer Minard at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I asked if I could do my own fan films. Because again, when I get excited about something, I'm gung ho. And Michael and I think along the same lines in a lot of ways. So in the very early beginning stages of me doing fan films, I always ran everything past him because I didn't want anything to contradict his series. And he always gave me the green light, his blessing on everything. But I wanted it to be, because I think you produce like about 3 films a year for your show
right now.
Yeah. So
I wish I could do more.
Yeah, no, and that's see, that right there is the problem that a lot of people have, because it takes time to do a series. And that's the problem that Michael runs into. He's been doing it since, for the same amount of time as I have, maybe about 6 months longer, making his own series. And I think he's produced, 4, maybe 5. So for me to build a character in his series was kind of, this is going to be forever. So I asked him, can I do my own fan films? So by the time, it's kind of like Chief O'Brien in DS9. We didn't have to have any O'Brien episodes for a long time because we already knew him from Next Gen. And that's what I wanted from Minard. I wanted to tell my own show or my own films. So by the time we saw him in Starship Valiant episodes, they already knew me. They didn't need to get anything from me. And if we did get anything, it was just an added bonus. We already knew, from my films. And then 100 and some episodes later, here we are. Everything's just, when you see me now in other films, it's just an added bonus,
Yeah.
So
That's wild. Amazing. So
yeah, I was very blessed because he's, and that's, he gave me the blessing to do the stuff, and every time I needed something from him, he's like, "Oh yeah, here you go. Oh yeah, you need this? Here you go." And he'd sit there and talk ideas with me if I needed to bounce ideas. And that's something that I've tried to do with my actors when they wanted to either produce films or write for their characters. And we've done it 4 separate times. Hold on just one second. Yeah, hon. What do you need, buddy? I'll be on in a little bit, bud. Okay. Okay, pal. And then we'll have guys' night. All right. We'll do the hot chocolate and popcorn, pal.
I have to edit that part out.
Okay.
Here we are again. So how many see, I'm still getting used to this community. I'm sort of, one of the things that's kind of cool about doing interviews like this is then after you're done with the interview, you feel like you know the person. Yep. So like now I know you, and now I feel like I know Eric,
Yep.
Eric the Smoke, and then Jonathan Lane.
Yep.
We went on for like 3 hours, and then Joshua, Michael Irwin, and so on. So now through the magic of Zoom, it's like now I feel like I'm part of the community, and we all do our thing, but we also kind of know who the real person behind the curtain is, who's doing all this stuff. So there's several, I mean, you could almost call them little fan film franchises out there.
No, that's exactly, because you've got a planetary step with Eric. And the thing about Eric is he's got his cosplay, he's got his he's got so many different fan films that he's done, from Star Trek to Orville to Doctor Who, plus he's got his cosplay. I mean, he's got his hand in so many pots.
Right.
And he's so smart, he's so clever. And just when you think
he knows a lot of people too.
Yeah. Just when you think you've caught up to everything, he's like, "Oh no, that was like 10 steps ago. I'm already over here." And you're like, "Dude, you're so clever." And I love like when him and I talk, it's such a joy, and he's so down to earth. And the thing about that dude, he's so happy about what he's doing, and he's just in the moment. And for a guy who's 10 steps ahead to be in the moment, like, man, I could learn a lot from that dude. Like, he's so chill, and I love it because he's such a family man too, and I love it. And Jonathan Lane, that guy's got his pulse on a lot in the community. I know a lot would rag on him for being, Jonathan Lame or whatever. But I mean, that dude,
I haven't heard that one yet.
He writes so many blogs about fan films and knows so much about. I mean, he just did a thing yesterday about 2021, and he was like, "Hey, forgive me because like there's so much I can't get to." But it's like, dude, but think about everything you have gotten to. Not only did you do all these blogs, you helped put a film out. And
interlude.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was with Victoria Fox and Josh Irwin, directed, produced, whatnot. And I mean, you added to the community not only that, but you have the behind the scenes of this is how you make a film, this is how you do the film. And then you've got Josh, who not only is he making, I think he put out 5 or 6 this year.
That's what he said.
Not only did he put them out, but they're high quality. They're happy. They have that hope that Star Trek used to have, that is kind of lacking these days. That it's to me, it's like that's what Orville is so good about. Is man, it makes you feel happy again. It makes you smile. So you really do have just talking about your interviews, and I did watch. You do have kind of the pillars of the community. On top of that, you got Frank Parker, who's a great guy, knowledgeable in all the stuff and how, a lot of the history that went into the sets. You have Gary Davis, who, again, knows the history of all this stuff and the people there. You have George Kyan, who, man, if you ever have the chance to interview that guy's been making fan films since the 90s. I mean, talk about a godfather of fan films. That dude, I know people, they have reverence for James Cawley or Vic Mignogna. No disrespect to those guys, but George Kyan is the guy who I look at and I'm like, no, you are the guy that I look at and I'm like, you are the, I bow to you, sir. Because that guy does.
Cayenne, like cayenne pepper? How do you
No,
spell
well,
that?
that's how you pronounce it, but it's Kayain. You know, and if you ever need an introduction, I don't mind
Cayenne.
introducing you. But
Yeah,
he
you should
is,
hook me up. I'll see.
yeah,
That'd be fun to have him on my show.
yeah, he is
Yeah,
so down to earth, so fun to talk to. And this guy makes films on no budget.
right.
I mean, he is, and like I said, he's been doing it since the '90s on those big ass cameras,
Yeah,
that break your back, the type we have back surgeries for now. This is why I go to
right.
chiropractors. But I mean, you have, you have Randy Landers, who, this guy, he's got sets in his house that he makes films off of. And I mean, this guy's putting out films like almost once a month, I believe, sometimes twice a month. I mean, this guy is so creative on what he does,
Hmm.
and nothing stops him. He's so smart. And he has, just like with me, I have my own production team of people that hey, we're just good people. We're friends. We're making stuff. We're doing this for fun. And to hell with the critics.
Yeah,
We don't care. We do it for fun.
yeah.
And they're so smart, but I mean, you really have good people that, when the guidelines came out and supposedly we're going to destroy fan films. No, we really have a wide variety on the spectrum, that, all you got to do is reach out. Hey, would you like to talk? Oh, sure, let's talk. You pick up the phone, talk to any one of them, and they're so down to earth, and they're all good people. No drama, good people.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Wow,
and talk that we also have, one more, the Federation Files. If you ever have a chance, go
I
look
haven't
them
saw
up.
that yet.
Yeah, Glenn Wolfe, Dan Reynolds. Go reach out to them. They're the Warp 66. They're awesome people. They have, every segment. It's something different. New set of characters, new ship, new crew. Like it's always something different with those guys, and their sets are amazing, just like Neutral Zone. I mean, they're so smart in what they do, and their approach. And I'm just, you learn so much from just watching this stuff. Like, what is this? A good group of people. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you picked a good time to step into this world. So
Yeah, that's definitely fertile. All kinds of creative minds and all
yeah.
kinds of dedicated people. That's for sure. Cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So what do you have? I know you got the projects ahead. Do you have any conventions you're planning to go to next year in 2022 or?
No, I stopped doing, I actually stopped doing conventions because I had done SoonerCon. I had done a couple of those. I had done my own conventions, when we had the old Starbase Studios. I hosted my own conventions, two of them, called the Promenadicon.
Oh,
We did two of those where we actually invited people to the sets to do.
mm,
And that those the first one did really, really good. The second one, not so good, because that was when the guidelines came out, like 2 weeks prior, or like a month prior. So
that
everyone was
spooked
like,
everybody.
"Oh my God, we can't, yeah, don't touch it, don't go anywhere." And so it's like, yeah, it was dead on arrival for that one. But the first one was successful because we had, like, I collect action figures,
Okay.
so I had raffles, and when everyone, like, I started posting pictures like, "Hey, I've got this action figure. I'm putting this in a raffle. This money goes toward the studio." Because I wanted to build new sets for the studio. And when other people started seeing, "Oh, hey, you're doing that. I've got something I could donate for a raffle." I was like, "Oh, cool." And then, "Hey, I've got one." And then, "Hey, I've got one." And it was really great to see a community come together
Nice.
and just, yeah, and it was really cool. But like I said, when the studio, kind of dissipated, there was no more Promenadicon. But I went to one of the open houses at Neutral Zone. But I've done a few conventions, but one of the conventions, and I won't say which one, but they asked me if, um one of the things I've always stood by is when I go to a convention, I always bring my wife and my kid with me.
Hmm.
And I was asked, "Hey, we don't really want the family members of the people coming with, so can you please not bring your wife or child?"
Hmm. That's
And
weird.
I've never heard that before.
Huh.
And again, I'm a family man, so I don't,
Like,
my
what do
my
you mean they don't want you at the booth or they don't want you in the same hotel room or? or what?
I don't know. Like I was thrown off just by that comment. So
Huh.
I was like, well, then I'm not, you consider me not coming. I'm
Hmm.
like, because
Well,
I've never even heard that from, because it's
so
like, first off, don't spouses buy tickets too? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never
yeah,
heard
that's like
that before. Like,
huh,
yeah, to
weird.
me, I was like, the whole thing just sounded like, one, sounds fishy. I don't understand. Like, where are you coming at from this? So I I I was so turned off by it and enraged. And
Hmm.
I'm pretty passionate. When you piss me off, I'm like, nope, I'm done. So it turned me off of just doing conventions in general. So I was like,
Huh.
I'm good. I'm good
Was
for a
this
while.
after Star Trek Las Vegas?
No. This is way before. Vegas
Okay.
was the first one I've done in years.
Oh, really? So what brought you there?
Alec Peters.
Oh, okay.
You don't tell Alec no.
Hmm.
And in fact, I still kind of walk that line of, I don't know if I'm going to go, but
Yeah.
when Alex says, hey, yeah, we're going to do this. So what do we need to do to get you there? And I was like, I don't really want to go, Alec. I mean, it's, I mean, we can. He's like, no, Vance, I want you there. Cause I mean, I want Josh there. I want you there. What do we need to do? And I was like, well, let me check with my wife. And
Hmm.
I was kind of
Okay.
hoping that would have been an out, but I checked with her and she was like, yeah, I'm out of school I'm out of school
Cool.
that week. So yeah. So then
Yeah,
I
I had a
told Alec,
total
I was like, well,
blast there. So like I'm already making plans. Like I want to figure out a way how I can get a booth for Egotastic Trek in that same vendor room where all the other vendors are.
oh, it was a blast. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like the thing about Alec, he always seems to know what I need before I need it, and I've learned to trust him, and I know a lot of people would, have their disagreements with me on that. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't tell Alec no, because usually he's right on, hey man, this is what I need from you. Okay. I can say I had a great time at Vegas.
Yeah, it
You
was a
know,
blast.
yeah. And like I said, I have not done a convention in years.
Neither have I. That
So
was the first convention I've been to for like at least 20 years, maybe
mm,
even 30, tell you the truth. But
yeah, it was worth going. It
yeah, it was
was
a total
worth it.
blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if I showed you this, but I have this giant notebook full of all kinds of pictures and autographs of all the people that were in that room.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
really
amazing.
fun.
Yeah, to sit there, like to sit there, like the thing is, like, and I know, I never had the mentality that, oh man, everyone's going to be in this crowded room for me. Like, I didn't think there was going to be like a billion people in the room to hear me talk. Like, to me, that was never the point. To me, the point was, and Josh put it perfectly, like, how many people get to be on stage at Star Trek Las Vegas?
True.
And
So was it Alec that hooked you up to do that panel? Did he orchestrate it
yeah,
or who did that? Okay.
yeah, yeah. They asked Alec if he would, they were like, this is the first time that we're doing fan films. We're opening it up to
Okay.
fan films.
But this is Alec
And
Alec Peters, by the way, is the person we're talking about,
yes,
the guy who the brains behind Axonar and
yes,
also like the star of the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, and if I get my facts wrong, forgive me,
Okay.
because I know there are people that love to nitpick that, so if my facts are wrong, or slightly off,
Oh, we'll
forgive me.
flame you big time, dude.
There you go. But as far as I know, they had asked him, hey, we kind of want to do a fan film, like we want to open it up to fan films. Because I believe they no longer call themselves Star Trek Las Vegas. I think they call it something else. I don't know what it is. I'm terrible with names.
I think it's
Um,
creation.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that opened it up to, since it's no longer Star Trek Las Vegas, they can do, hey, let's open it up to fan films. And I mean, I still call it Star Trek Las Vegas because it's what
Everybody
it's
else
been known
does
for.
too. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody was
yeah,
talking about STLV 2021,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So, but they opened it up and they reached out to Alex and said, look, we don't know, what to do with the fan. Could you would you be kind of our go between and bring some fan films in to talk?
Okay.
So Alec, he reached out to Josh, me, of course, his panel, and I think maybe one more. I know Mark Largent was there, he's a great guy too. If you ever want to talk to somebody who's funny as hell, talk to him. He's great. He does
Mark Largent,
Star Trek. He's funny, great guy. If you ever need me to introduce you to him, I'll do that. He's a great guy.
I'll hit you up for that too.
Yeah, he's good guy. Anyone you want to meet in fan films, if I can be a go-between, let me know. More than happy to do it. But so I think there were 4 of us on those different panels for each day.
Mm-hmm. And, it was more than one day? Was it the whole week?
Yeah, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
That just proves where my mind was. I didn't go to hardly any panels at all. I spent the entire time in that vendor room, because there were all these Star Trek actors everywhere that I needed to talk to.
a lot of cool stuff. I mean, dude, there were so many action figures. I mean, I have almost every action figure there is. I have both opened, unopened, customized, and I was still looking at that going, man, I'm a kid in a candy factory, because this just takes me back to my childhood,
Yeah.
But no, but they, Alec was like, look, man, you're the most prolific fan filmmaker there is. I want you on panel. Yeah, no, that's, I mean, not to be egotistical. But when people say you're Vance, like that sadly, that kind of does mean something.
It does. It's like, Joe, or Elon.
Yeah.
Like there's 3 big rulers of the planet Earth. There's Joe, Elon, and Vance. Because after Gene died, right?
I don't know if that's
somebody need to fill his shoes.
Like what? But he said, look, man, you're the most prolific fan filmmaker there is. I want you on panel. And I mean, after that, like what there was really not much that I could say to dissuade myself from going. At that point, it was really, okay, if I can go, then I will, because I didn't want to get COVID. So it was more like, okay, are we going to be safe? Because I knew if I come back and I have COVID, my wife can't go. My wife cannot continue with school because she can't get it.
She's a teacher, right? You asked a teacher, right?
No, nurse.
A nurse, okay.
Nurse. And she's doing her RN. So it's one of those things where it's like,
I see.
If she gets it, like they boot her out. So I had to make sure, like,
interesting.
I had to make so I had to make sure that, hey, are you out of school during that time? Are you on vacation? Like, and she was still on her kind of mid break.
Right.
So, it just happened. The timing was right. But I mean, if she was in school, I wouldn't have been able to go, because I this whole year I've been in dad mode where, hey, I'm taking care of Royce. That's why I'm doing, that's why I was doing Pizza Roll Diaries, because I don't have time to film. I can't go anywhere to film. I'm here at home, so.
But you work nights too, right?
I do. I work about 60 to 72 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's another thing about these fan film people. We're all crazy because we all have day jobs. Well, yours is a night job. Where we're working 40 hours a week, and then we're working another 40 hours a week on our fan film projects, Yeah.
You really have to, it really, that's one of the things. That's why, some people, they always throw, like, I get probably in a given week, probably about 2 or 3 scripts from any random person. And I always try to sit there and I do. Cause I always try to make myself available to anyone who wants to help. Cause I know what it's like to want to do a film and people tell you no, because that's what it was when I first was doing Minard. I'd be like, hey, if you need help, let me know. We don't need your help. Well, hey, if you need an extra or something, I'll do it. No, we don't want you. You don't fit the body type. Man, that's So
well,
I don't
just do a close up.
Yeah.
Or put my head on somebody else's body. That's what stunt doubles are for.
I'll be on Yeoman Rand's body. That's But no, I mean, that's why. I mean, honestly, like, that's why, like, you'll see me from, like, this part. Like, I do a lot because it's like, I understand, like, nobody wants to see my man boobs on camera, but I know what it's like to be enthusiastic and get shot down, and I don't want to be that person. So I
Yeah,
will sit
cool.
there and read a script and be like, hey, I'll script polish this for you, or I'll give
Wow,
you a little
wow,
bit of input,
jeez.
or I'll
That's pretty
point you in the right
dedicated.
direction. What's that now?
That's pretty dedicated. I mean, so you'd will like if somebody gives you a script, so you're talking like at least a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, I do try. I mean, I don't always
Huh,
get to it because, again, if I got Royce comes first. If I
huh,
have, family time, hey, family comes first. So there's a lot of stuff where
huh.
stuff gets stockpiled. But
Because I know, like with me, like I have such a huge backlog with stuff that I want to do that I'm
yeah,
always trying to squeeze out the last 5 minutes of the day to do something. Like I barely have time to watch any shows.
yeah.
Pretty much, I watched The Expanse. I watched all of Cowboy Bebop because I really liked it, and then it got
Mhm.
canceled, which I'm still pissed at Netflix for that. And then I watched Cobra Kai because I got sucked into it, and I'm like, I love this show.
It's a great show. It's a
But
great dude.
there's
It's
so many other
well,
shows that I kind of want to watch, but I'm like, well, do I really have time to watch it? I've got all this other stuff I need to do too.
well. The,
So
the thing is, man, like the key to it, you have to take the time for you. And I don't care if it's watching a TV show or reading a book, or like for me, a huge part for me is going out on my front deck and taking either my cup of tea or my cup of coffee and just relaxing, going looking out at the woods, because I have woods outside my front yard. If for any
nice.
who see my away missions, that's my front yard. And just kind of, for me, detoxing from Facebook or the world, just looking out, letting Royce play in the front yard, and
Right.
just getting away from things. And or watching a show. Doing you time is important, even if it's 5 minutes a day. And also for me, I do take naps. Like I'll take like
So do
a
I.
15-20 minute nap,
Yeah.
because just to let your mind just disconnect,
Right.
and then go back to doing what you're doing, because that type of stuff, like I said, even if it's 15 minutes, even if you don't get to sleep, just put your head
Chill
back,
out.
put your hat on your head, and just, and I do that. Like I'll go out to my car in the parking lot and just, no, everybody leave me alone. Yeah, because it's like, you hear the factory, the hums from the factory, and to me that's it's like white noise, man.
Right.
But I mean, I have, like, right here, these are the scripts that I have to still work on, and they're like maybe
Uh,
5-10 minute cameos that I have to do that I still got to
okay.
work on.
Speaking of scripts,
Yeah.
so when are we going to see those two episodes that Captain Harniger is in?
Well, you're in 3,
Yeah.
if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
3.
Yeah.
No, I
I
only
think
sent you two. I sent you two.
well, I think I've still got to write one, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
okay. So one of them's still in your head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're working on episode 2, and you are in episode, I believe, 6 or 7.
Okay.
So but see, the way my mind works
Wow, you're
is
way ahead of the game. Wow.
yeah, like I am always like, I'm always talking to everybody like, okay, give me your part, 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 give me your part. Okay, now I don't have to. Now let's go film the main segments. So then, like, I always have
Mm,
all this stuff in. So that,
wow.
because like realistically, if something ever happens to, Lord forbid, say something happens to you,
Right.
I've
You've
got your
got it.
stuff.
You've got me in the
Yeah.
can.
No, and that's like, realistically, that's why for me, I always try to film my stuff as soon as possible. Because
Wow.
say my health takes a dive, I'm in the
Mm,
hospital for a year. I don't want you waiting on me. And that's the way my mind works, because it's like that's happened to me before, where it's like I'm waiting on one. Like right now, I'm on one of my films. It's a film that I've had in waiting for 2 years. I'm just waiting on one shot.
mm,
It's done. It's just waiting on one shot, and then it could just go to editing. But I'm waiting on one shot, but I can't do it until that person is ready to go.
mm.
I'm still waiting. And dude, they're one of my best friends, but they love to procrastinate. And I mean, the only way to get it is to, hey, let me see that finger, chop it off. Give me the goddamn footage. Can't do it. But that's the way my mind works. Is like, as soon as
Yeah.
the script is written, I send it to everybody, and I'm like, hey, as soon as you can, give me the footage. And
Okay.
that's, and I write realistically, like when I get on a roll, I can write 2-3 scripts a night. you
Yeah,
know
I've noticed that. I remember I used to think like writing a script or a book was a huge task, but like, I mean, I can write a script for an episode of my show. What I do is I let it percolate in my brain for quite a while.
yeah.
I'm thinking it, but then when I finally get down to writing it, I can slam it out in like a day or two.
Yeah.
Bam,
Once you,
it's done, you
yeah.
know, and then
For
it
me, I
takes 3 or 4 months to actually film it and produce it, you know.
for me, I do a lot of I do a lot of talking to myself,
Uh-huh.
which is good because I work in a freezer when I'm not typing. Like I go out, grab the numbers, whatnot. But I do a lot of talking to myself, doing the conversation, and I do that when I write the script too. Like
Uh-huh.
like if I'm like for you in my conversation, I would say, well, how would Matt say this? And then
Right.
I would type that, and then I would do my character, and then I would say, okay, well, how would Matt say this? And then I would type it out, and then
Right.
because again, that's how I
And then you
I would.
actually you actually pronounce it. I do the same
Yep.
thing. Like
Yeah.
especially
No.
when
And that's
I'm sitting there, especially when it's Cardinger, I'll just sit there and speak the line
yep.
until it feels right, and then okay, that's it.
Yep. Yeah. And
You know,
and I base a lot of my characters on people I know,
right,
because it's always easy. And then I speak with that inflection when I write. And it
right,
doesn't always translate well because again, when they get the line, it may not read right for them, or they may say, and they're like, it
right.
doesn't feel okay. And again, to me, the
So
script
if
is
they
always
do
just a
that,
guide.
if you have something when you're filming and the script is kind of clunking, are you cool with just changing the script right then on the fly?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same with me.
I
Yeah,
always say this no matter what I'm on, whether I'm on set or I'm on outside, or if it's or if I send it to them, the script is just a guide. You know where I'm headed. You know where I need to go, and you need to make me make sense. So as
okay,
long as you make me make sense and you get me into it's like a dance partner.
right,
You guys have to flow, and as long as it does, I don't care. It's fine. Because I hate when
cool.
people. I've been on sets where they're like, no, stick word for word, and I'm like, okay, but this doesn't flow. And you sit there and you'll take 30 minutes trying to get that one word. Where I'm like, look, if we just cut this one word, we're
We're
good.
done.
And so to me, I
Yeah.
never want to be that, and it takes the fun out of acting. And
It's
to me,
interesting because like when I do my show, I'm really particular about where I have a certain idea of what I want, right? So on one hand, I do give the actors leeway, and sometimes I'll just let them improv around some lines. But other times, like especially when I work with JP, and he's doing like a Scotty voiceover for Scotty,
uh-huh.
he literally spent like 20 minutes to half hour on one line until I'm like, now it doesn't quite kind of like Scotty yet. Maybe you need to pronounce that one syllable a little bit there. Maybe your voice has to go up there. And then finally it's like, yeah, that's Scotty. Okay. But
Mhm.
but that's hard because we're trying to make him really sound like
Right,
Scotty. But
right.
then other times I'm willing to
Well, see,
let it go.
for me, I love, like, I don't enjoy acting anymore. To me
Oh,
it's
really?
not I don't. I love directing though,
Hmm.
because it's like you get when you get a good performance out of a character,
Right.
or a person. To me it's like, when you tell them, you're like, no, here's where this character is at. This is their mindset.
Right.
You they're so mad, and they're remembering when their ham and cheese sandwich got stolen when they were a kid, and they just want to knock this dude the heck out, and this is where they're at. So they're boiling anger, and they're mad, and that's where that. So you're calm, but you've got this underrage underneath, and you're trying to contain yourself, and that's where you're at. So your line, just deliver like, yes sir, and that's where you're at. Just give them just think about that ham and cheese sandwich. You're that fat kid at lunch. Just give it to them, and then just go do it. But do it how you just think of the sandwich, and let them do, and you let them do it, and let them get there. I love that because you're taking them on their journey, and you're giving them the confidence, and when you get that performance out of them,
Mhm.
oh, it's so beautiful, dude. And
Mm.
to me, doing the acting doesn't appeal to me. But when you get a performance out of someone like that, that's beautiful.
Mm.
Now
Cool.
don't get me wrong. Like, I've had great performances with, I've had great scenes with people like Michael King. I've had some great scenes, like when him and I get in Legacy, the special edition, when him and I get in each other's face, and it's like I'm ready to knock that dude out, because I'm like, dude, we need to get off the ship now. Like, and I'm just like, you can tell I'm about to knock this dude out, because I'm like, dude, I don't care if you're the captain or not. Like, we need to get off. Or with me and Frank, when we're yelling at each other, because I'm like, dude, I mean, we have some great, we shot that scene separately, but you couldn't tell by the scene. I mean,
Right.
those are great performances. But to
Yeah.
me, I think it's more fun to direct someone and get a great performance, especially someone who is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
and you're showing them the ropes. To me, that's a lot more fun than trying to have that performance on yourself.
On yourself,
I
yeah.
mean, to me, I find that a lot more satisfying.
Right.
Especially considering I feel like I've told every story I need to. Let's have someone else tell their story. To me, that's just more fun. So
Cool.
but,
Wow.
well, I think my wife's about to head to work here, so
Okay.
I think we're
So
gonna
it's
cut short.
babysitting time.
I
Right.
think so. So
Okay. And how do you want to wrap it up besides what you just said right there?
I think that's
We got it. I guess we're gonna put a bunch of links in the description
okay.
for your YouTube channel, and then
Okay.
any other things so there's No Budget Productions, and then
Yep.
Avalon also, that's Josh's one. And
Yep, we
then what
have
was the other one that you recommended, that the Federation, what was it?
hold on, hon. I'll be out in just. Okay. I'm coming, son. Give me 1 minute, buddy. So we have No Budget Productions and Phil Ferret Productions, which we're working on Phil Ferret Studios. That's what Frank is building.
Okay.
We're part. We work with Avalon Universe.
Okay.
We work with Warp 66 Studios,
Okay.
which if you wanted to film, I'd say give Glenn and Dan a call. If you're in, and they're in Arkansas. If you're in Georgia, give Neutral Zone Studios a call. They're great people. Both those areas, they're both great studios to work with. I work with Starship Valiant. I work with Avalon. I work with Crossroads, which is Frank's production. I work with Starship Antilles. I work with Dreadnought Dominion. I'm kind of all over the place. Star Trek Nature's Hunger, which is Jose Sampita's film. Again, that's kind of a out there crazy one. I think you'd probably enjoy a lot.
Okay.
I think you and Jose
out there
probably,
crazy.
yeah.
Jose, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
He's another one. Like I'll send you the link. A good guy.
Okay.
But there's a lot of films that I work with. A lot of stuff coming up that we always try to have kind of crossovers and interact. But there's a lot of stuff coming up. It's just a lot of the stuff we do is just building community.
Mm-hmm.
Both inside and outside the films themselves, because a lot of it is working on the films, but at this point I feel like it's just it really is family reunion type stuff. We get together, we have fun, we tell a story if we have time. At this point, it's like, let's just have fun, but yeah, I mean it's all pretty much there on the films, but we all have our own independent goals, but we all kind of work together if we need something. We share resources, and heck, we share uniforms. If I need this, can you send it? Yeah, here you go, Jose, or here you go, Frank, or here you go, Vance. It's it really is a large community, a large family. I think it was in Star Trek 6. They were like one big happy fleet. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you want to see my stuff, go to No Budget Productions, or No Budget Productions, Phil Ferret Productions, which I'll send you the link to that. Everything that you need, from Pizza Roll Diaries to Critical Not Cynical, is on that channel. So basically that one link is all you really need. Just click on that and you can find me. So
very good. Okay. All right. Take family time. So let's call it good. Till next time, Vance. Live long and prosper. Onward and upward, and Happy New Year.
All right, man. Take care, brother.
Take care of your team.
Pranakasha production. Fantastic creations emerging spontaneously from the space of life. For the benefit of all beings everywhere. We gotta